Hello, my name is Tom Miller, and I want to welcome you to a new video podcast brought to you by the Seymour, Tennessee Church of Christ. We are calling this new presentation, That's a Good Question. That should let you know that it will be a question and answer format. Going forward, I do hope that you will submit questions for us to consider. You may send those to me personally at tom@seymourcoc.org. Each week, we plan to take 5 to 10 minutes to answer one question. Before we deal with today's question, let me say some preliminary things. First, this video podcast will not take the place of anything else we are doing on social media. For instance, our 5-minute podcast each Tuesday will still be recorded. We will continue to record our Sunday sermons and post them for your consideration. You can find those on our website. Second, I'm not suggesting that I'm an authority on the Bible. I will say, however, that I have been a careful student of the Word of God for well more than 50 years. I have sought to understand and properly apply what it says. Third, I am not naive enough to believe that everyone will always agree with what I say. It's a matter of opinion. I will tell you it is a matter of opinion. If it is a matter of faith, I will do my best to give you book, chapter, and verse for my answer. Fourth, I do not want you ever to accept what I say simply because I say it. I would not purposefully give you a wrong answer. But I do realize that I cannot always be right about everything. The final authority in matters regarding the soul is always the Word of God, and I commend it to you. Now, for today's question. Is this coronavirus a punishment from God? I've been asked that question several times, and it is widely debated in social media. Let me give you what I hope is a logical, reasonable, and biblical answer to that question. There are many people who believe that it is punishment from God. One evangelical preacher said that the coronavirus was God's death angel, and that through the virus, God was purging sin from the planet. He listed such things as sexual deviancy, a wrong view of the sanctity of life, and all of the filth that you can find on television and in movies. He says these are the reasons God sent this upon us. Is he right? To find out, let me ask some additional questions. First, has God ever used catastrophes to discipline unbelieving and unfaithful people and to fulfill his purpose? Well, the answer is yes. How do I know that? Because the Bible tells me so. For instance, he brought the flood of Genesis 6 upon the world because of its wickedness. Genesis chapter 6 and verse 5 says, Then the Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every intent of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continuously. Now through the flood, God punished sin and washed the world clean. But here's another question. Does that mean that every time something bad happens, that God is punishing people because of sin? The answer to that question is no. How do I know that? Again, because the Bible tells me so. In John 9, Jesus and his disciples passed a man who had been blind from birth. The disciples asked, now who sinned? This man or his parents that he would be born blind? Now they evidently bought into the theory that any calamity meant sin had occurred and that God was punishing this sin through the calamity. Now what did Jesus say? Jesus said that it was not a result of anybody's sin that the man was born blind. Now I know that a child might pay a terrible price because of the sin of his or her parents. For instance, in the case of a child born to a drug-addicted mother. But that was not the case here. Jesus said nobody sinned. He did say that it would provide an opportunity for him to heal this man and to reveal the power of God. Now this brings me to the answer for today's question. Is this coronavirus punishment from God because of sin? I cannot say that it is. Why? I cannot read God's mind. I have no revelation from him in regard to this matter, and furthermore, neither does anybody else. The only way I can know what God is doing and why he is doing it is if he reveals that to me. And he hasn't. We must not profess to know more than we can know. Now, friends, I know that God is sovereign. I know that he allows things that he does not cause. And he may be using this virus to bring people to their senses. But this is not the same as saying that God has sent the virus to disrupt the economy of our world and to kill thousands of people. I must not put words in God's mouth. It should be the other way around. I should allow God to put words in my mouth. I also know that we can and should use this situation to be a reminder of the frailty of life and the reality of death. I do hope that it will result in people turning to God, obeying him, living for him, and ultimately being in a right relationship with him when we leave this earth. So thank you for your consideration of this question today and my answer. I remind you that you are welcome to send a question to me at tom@seymourcoc.org. And I do hope that you will be looking forward to our next That's a Good Question video podcast. Now, stay safe, my friends, and may God bless and keep you.